I rise to ask that the Senate adjourn in memory of Ambassador James Hormel, who was one of our great philanthropists, diplomats, and our nation's first openly LGBTQ ambassador. Jim passed away on August 13th at the age of 88 years old. He was truly one of our great modern LGBTQ community leaders in this nation. Born in 1933 in Austin, Minnesota, and the grandson of Hormel Foods founder, George A. Hormel, Jim attended Swarthmore College, where he earned a bachelor's degree in history. He would thereafter earn a law degree from University of Chicago School of Law and served as a dean at Chicago Law School. In 1995 and 97, Jim served on the Western States Regional Selection Panel for the President's Commission on White House Fellowships. He also acted as an alternate representative for the U.S. delegation to the 51st United Nations General Assembly in 1996, and he served as the United States ambassador to Luxembourg in 1999 and 2000. Jim was one of San Francisco's and the LGBTQ community's foremost leaders and philanthropists, having helped fund so many critical community needs, including, for example, the James Hormel LGBTQIA Center at the San Francisco Public Library, the AIDS Memorial Grove in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, the Human Rights Campaign, and so many other community organizations. He was a co-founder of the Human Rights Campaign 40 years ago, which is the largest LGBTQ civil rights organization in the country. Jim was also a huge proponent of the arts and was a financial supporter of the American Conservatory Theater. Above all else, he was a great friend, father, grandfather, and great-grandfather who dedicated his life in service to others. Normally, in these adjourns and memories, we want to focus only on the positive, but there was a significant happening in the late 90s around Jim's life that I think it's really important to remember, and I think Jim would want us to remember, and that is when President Bill Clinton nominated Jim to be ambassador to Luxembourg. There were no questions whatsoever about Jim's extreme qualifications to represent our country in Luxembourg. But unfortunately, his nomination, his confirmation, was derailed in the Senate by right-wing senators out of pure, unadulterated, unmasked homophobia. And this is in the late 1990s, and it's a reminder that it wasn't that long ago that this was considered acceptable activity and discourse, at least in one of the major national parties. The Senate did not confirm him, and we heard statements from United States senators in the late 1990s opposing him for supporting the quote-unquote gay agenda. One senator said, quote, "This is not a tolerance issue, this is a matter of advocacy of the gay lifestyle." The majority leader, Senator Trent Lott, went on TV and said, quote, "You should try to show them," referring to LGBT people, "a way to deal with that problem, just like alcohol or sex addiction or kleptomaniacs." He also issued a statement, quote, "Senator Lott opposes the naming of someone who has supported an extremist anti-Catholic group to represent the U.S., referring to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, one of the most beloved community organizations in San Francisco, which raises enormous amounts of money to support our most marginalized communities. The Family Research Council and Traditional Values Coalition opposed the nomination based on Jim's donation of $500,000 to the San Francisco Public Library to create an LGBTQ archive. On and on and on, just horrific statements opposing his nomination. Fortunately, President Clinton persisted and was able to name him as a recess appointment, and he served honorably for 2 years and then spent the next 20 years continuing his incredible service to our community. Jim passed away in San Francisco, as I mentioned, on August 13th of natural causes. He's survived by his husband, Michael, by his children, Allison, Ann, Elizabeth, Jimmy, and Sarah, by his 14 grandchildren, and by his 7 great-grandchildren. I will also just say that I knew Jim personally since I moved to San Francisco in the mid-1990s. He was truly one of the most wonderful human beings that I've known, just a pleasant, upbeat, lovely person who just cared deeply about supporting the community and never asked for anything in return, just wanted to be there for his community and for our great city of San Francisco. So colleagues, I ask that the Senate adjourn in memory of Ambassador James Hormel.
Thank you so much, Senator Wiener. On the adjourn in memory of the ambassador, the Senate would like to recognize Senator Laird. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Senator Wiener did a great job of outlining the biography of Jim Hormel and who he was and his philanthropic and civic contributions. And as somebody that knew him in that period, he did have those characteristics of, he was quiet, warmth, dignity, and I think interestingly, those were probably the perfect characteristics for somebody that was a trailblazer. And as somebody that knew him, it was very hard to watch what happened because the specific part of it is he was appointed and it could not get through the Senate. And President Clinton had to do a recess appointment to make it happen. And the interesting thing is there was a debate which seems so prehistoric now about whether his spouse could come with him to the country or could appear at official events or could even live or be seen in the ambassador's residence. That happened just roughly a quarter century ago. And yet it was his personal characteristics that were the response, which is the reason that they were probably perfect for somebody to be such a trailblazer. So I think he will go down in history, and to the community, to his friends, to his family, it is a big loss. So I join in the adjourn in memory to somebody that was a great statesperson.
Senator Laird, joining with Senator Wiener on behalf of the adjourn in memory of Ambassador James Hormel. Thank you, gentlemen.